Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're gonna get started on my Nissan Frontier flip project. First, we're gonna go over everything that's wrong with it, and then we're gonna start working on it. My name is Jeremy, this is Region Automotive, and let's get to work. Here she is. We have ourselves a 2014 Nissan Frontier. I'm pretty excited for this one for two reasons. First reason is I really like this platform of Nissan, especially the Frontier. I like the Frontiers a lot, the Xteras. It's kind of like the same derivation of engine in my G37. Like, it's a good torquey little engine. Like, I really like these actually. I've had two Frontiers. Surprisingly, no Xteras or Pathfinders, but two Frontiers. So anyway, that's the first reason why I'm excited for this project. And the second reason is I got a killer deal on it. I'll tell you right now, I got it for $3,500 Canadian. It's a 2014, it has 213,000 kilometers, so this many miles. Originally is actually sold by a seal company, actually. They design and manufacture high pressure application seals. So this was their work truck, their runaround truck. I'll show you the main reason why I got it for so cheap is because it was a no start. So that's why I kind of wanted to get it for as cheap as I could to minimize my risk. But let's do a quick walk around and talk about the truck, and then I'll show you the no start issue. So yeah, exterior is actually really clean. There's no rust, no scratches. I really like these tires. They're kind of like, I wonder if those are 33s or 31s, but they're bigger, kind of more aggressive all-terrain tires. They have decent tread on it. Coming to the rear here, this will require a bit of work. We have the taillight falling out, so we'll have to take that out and figure out what's going on there. It's missing the top piece of the trim on the tailgate, so I'll have to order that. And then I'll have to figure out that tonneau cover, see if I can get that together nicely. If not, I'll just take off these brackets and just get rid of everything. And then same story on this side. It's a pretty clean truck. I would expect it to be for 2014. Okay, so I will kind of explain the thoughts I was going through my head on the no start issue when I went to look at it. There's a few possible scenarios with no start. You have crank no start and then no crank no start. Crank no start, I would say, was kind of what they didn't really state in the ad or like the exact, they just said it was no start. So I was hoping for a crank no start because if you crank, at least the ECU is giving signal to the starter and it's trying to start the truck, and usually it's a cam, crank sensor, fuel pump, something like that. So I was hoping for crank no start. No crank no start, I definitely would have been hesitant because it could be a starter, but then you also got to worry about like the signal getting to the starter. If it's no crank no start, I was pretty much going to prepare for worst case scenario, which was an ECM on this thing. I was going to call the dealership and get a quote on an ECM before I made any offers, but it actually was neither of those things. So I will crank it over and show you what it was doing when I went to go look at it. So yeah, I don't know how well you can hear in here. I'll go outside and show you, but the starter was cranking, but it wasn't engaging to the flywheel. So I'm pretty sure it was just a stuck solenoid on the starter. So I'll do it one more time with the camera and microphone outside of the truck. As you can hear, the starter kind of clicks on, and then yeah, it's just spinning and it's not engaging. So to me, that seems like a stuck starter, but let's lift it up and figure out for sure. And I'm pretty excited because this is my first vehicle project on the 2-post lift here. Okay, so I have the truck raised on the lift here, and I'm going to work on getting this old starter out. Just that 10 mil bolt there, and then there's a couple 14 mil bolts. Okay, we got the old starter out. Overall, that process wasn't too bad. I'd say maybe about an hour to get the old one out, new one in. Really the only hang up was it's kind of tight to get it out from behind the subframe and the differential. And then the battery that was in it is absolutely toast, so I'm gonna have to get a new one. So right now I just have the jumper cables connected to the battery cables in the truck, hooked up to, we just had an old deep cycle marine battery, and then I have our jumper pack on it. So let's jump in the truck and see if she will start. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Nice. She fires off. It hesitated a little bit there because that battery's just totally dead. You can tell because the gauge is just kicked on, but it is running. Let's take a look outside. I would say she runs pretty good. That's awesome. That's great news. Don't forget to subscribe, you guys, if you want to see more flip videos and the part 2 series of this Nissan truck. I appreciate each and every single one of you that has subscribed so far, and every new subscriber gets the gears turning in my head thinking about how I can make the next video even better. Thanks, guys. So now that we have the big issue out of the way, which is getting the truck running, we'll go over my just kind of things I noticed as I was walking around and working on the truck. So let's make a parts list for everything I'm going to order to make this truck ready for sale. So first and foremost is battery. I got to pick up one of those on my way home today. And for whatever reason, I noticed the cap was missing off the coolant expansion tank, so I have to get a new cap. So I was just kind of poking around when this thing was on the lift and just like, you know, checking for play and suspension and bearings and all that stuff. And I noticed there's quite a bit of play in the steering here. So I'll pop you under the truck and show you exactly where that's coming from. So you are looking at the outer tie rod end, and notice when I shake the wheel back and forth, again, how the steering knuckle and the tie rod kind of move separately, like just like that joint isn't tight. That's connecting that steering knuckle to that tie rod. And the last thing that needs to be worked on is this rear tailgate situation. It's not great. It'll definitely need some work. So originally I thought that the bracket was just broken on the light, which it is. And then also you'll notice the top of the tailgate is missing the trim there. So I took it down just to see what's going on. I noticed the bracket for the tailgate's broken there, so I'll need a new bracket. And then this panel actually separated. This panel separated from the tailgate, which I'm going to try to, there's some holes on the back of the tailgate there. So I'm going to try to drill a hole and use these holes for rivets and rivet that panel back on. What I'm guessing happened, because like I said, this was a company truck before, so probably had some guys who are loading a pallet or whatever, and they must have like slammed a load or pallet or too heavy of a load on the tailgate here. And I'm guessing this trim was sticking just past the tailgate, broke the trim, broke that bracket, and pulled that panel off. So that is going to need some work here. So yeah, for parts list, taillight, trim. All right, I have done some thinking, and this is what I came up with. I was thinking about the possibility of doing those rivets that I was mentioning earlier, but like this is like a pretty tight space or width, I guess, between where I need to work and like the edge of the tailgate there. So I figured like when I drill, it'll be hard getting a nice clean drilled hole in there. And then same thing with the rivets, it'll be hard getting the rivet gun in there. And then also, you know, just holding the rivets on, like it's kind of hacky. And like that leaves a bit of gap between where like water and salt and all that crap could get between there. So originally I was going to go for JB Weld. That is the product I'm using, but they actually had this seam weld, seam sealer and panel adhesive. So that's literally what that's made for. Yeah, cures in 1 hour, seam sealer, strong bond, whatever. So yeah, I think that's going to work pretty good. I'm just going to fill in behind that panel there, just fill that all with that seam sealer weld. Then I have my clamp on there, and I'll clamp that on and then leave that for the cure time for 1 hour. And I think that will hold that together pretty strong, having that whole back face filled with that seam sealer weld. Okay, so we have that all glued together now. Then I just have my clamps here to kind of hold everything together while it's curing. And while that's curing, we're going to do that outer tie rod that I showed you earlier that was pretty worn out. All right, now that we have the old tie rod end out, we can see the play in it. Just that little bit of play is what we're seeing when we're rotating or shaking the tire back and forth. Since I have no more parts with me today, I just need a few more parts to tie together that rear tailgate. I'm going to start detailing the truck here. So I'm just going to go to town with the vacuum and then wipe all the panels down. All right, guys, I'm going to call it for the week on my Nissan Frontier flip project. I'm going to make a 2-part series on this thing. So don't forget to subscribe and look forward to the second part coming out on this thing. And then as for what I plan on flipping it for and selling it for, I'll insert the nearest comparable Frontier now. Once I'm ready to list it, I think I'm going to list it at 12.9 just to try to be a little bit under the comparable. And then I hope to get 12 grand for it. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day.